It is a common belief in 2017 that science and religion are not compatible with each other, that they are opposing systems to interpret the world and they only contradict each other. But how do scientists feel about this hypothesis, specifically those who are Christians themselves? Do they even exist? Well, that's what we're going to find out in this episode of RGBInsight. Firstly, I'd like to get this out of the way. Christian scientists do exist, and this is not to be confused with Christian Science, which is a whole other thing. So the first question that might come to your mind is, how could a Christian also be a scientist? Wouldn't the logical nature of science get in the way? Well, no. The situation isn't seen like that at all. Since God has a rational nature, the universe was created in that way too, and we humans, in particular scientists, can use our own rational thought to understand it. God is directly connected to science. The next thing you might ask yourself is, why would a scientist become a Christian anyway? Don't they already have enough understanding? Well, to answer this, I will provide an extract from Theology in the Context of Science, a book written by theoretical physicist and theologian John Polkinghorne. The rash and implausible claim that science tells us all that is worth knowing, or even that could ever be known, embracing that belief is to take an arid and dreary view on reality. This shows that even to advanced scientists, science may not be enough to describe people and the world around us. So, does this actually mean anything? Does a Christian scientist's faith affect their research and projects? Yes, of course it does, and they will often claim that it is a requirement in order for them to have good and reliable pieces of work. Christian values are integrated into whatever the project may be, and in the example of engineering, the main aims would be to improve society, the standard of living, and to glorify God. Information about this can be found from the Being a Christian in Insert Field Here series, found on the Christian in Science website, the URL of which is www.cis.org.uk, not to be confused with www.cis.org, which is the Centre for Immigration Studies. Examples, I hear you say. Very well. The story of the Tower of Babel depicts people using their engineering skills for their own good and reputation, and using the idea of God to make it seem good. This was not tolerated by God at all, and he ruined their plans by confusing their language. This is a demonstration of how Christian scientists have a responsibility to use their God-given gifts for good causes, not just their own fortune. A more recent example of how science and religion working together would be the Big Bang Theory, although often disputed as being a secular or atheist theory. One of my favourite quotes relating to this topic is, "In the beginning, God said, 'Let there be light,' and there was a radiation-dominated early universe," written by Professor Chris Dunn of Durham University. More importantly, however, is that the idea was formulated by a Catholic priest named George Lemaitre, who claimed, "It is consonant with the wording of Isaiah speaking of the hidden God, hidden even in the beginning of the universe." Perhaps it doesn't even have to be quite as big as that. Those who design churches or design websites for them are often going to be doing that to help their community and help people have better access and communication with God. To be honest, it's quite difficult to specify any differences between the worship style or any other practices between Christians who are scientists and Christians who aren't. This is because there is nothing that really sets them apart anyway. They are just Christians who are scientists, and they can be from different strands, just like anyone else. John Polkinghorne, for example, became an Anglican priest, whereas George Lemaitre was a Catholic priest instead. Okay, so I think that's it for now. I fancy a hot chocolate myself, so thanks for listening, and I hope you learned something valuable from my ramblings. You'll probably see me again. It depends how many of these silly videos I have to do. Just kidding, I'm very honoured to host such a prestigious video series. Bye then.